we just wanted to present our stamp from the Republic of Kosovo.
In commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the Paris Peace Conference, an Albanian delegation visited Stanton today for a tour of the Woodrow Wilson Museum. The museum hosted a brief ceremony to welcome the delegation.
As the Albanians from 3 different countries, Albania, the Republic of North Macedonia, and the Republic of Kosovo, came to express their thanks for Woodrow Wilson's principles in the 100th anniversary of the Peace Conference, and his intervention on behalf of the Albanian people so that after the war they would not be carved up and assimilated by all of the neighbors in the Balkans.
A century ago, Albania was being threatened by Great Britain and France, but President Woodrow Wilson intervened.
It was a remarkable time in world history where really the map of the world would be redrawn. And so Albania wanted to make sure that they didn't get erased from the map. Wilson helped them not to be erased from the map.
David Hasselfluk is the director of the Institute for Albanian and Protestant Studies in Albania. He was part of the delegation and translated during the visit.
To be a part of this delegation has been absolutely fantastic. To see even tears in the eyes of my colleagues from the different countries as they have just seen some of the specific things in this museum and library, the little, from the stove to the bedrooms to the study, and to see more. This man is not just a statue. He is not just a figure on one of our postage stamps that he's been honored on the postage stamps, but he was a real man with a real story, and they've been able to kind of get to know him in a more personal way. It's been very special.
Yahela Yuka is the advisor for the Prime Minister of Kosovo. He presented the museum with Woodrow Wilson stamps and a plaque.
To be here in this beautiful little town, in the birthplace of an American president who has done so much 100 years ago to save the Albanian people. It's quite difficult to find the exact right words to show gratitude to all the efforts that President Wilson did 100 years ago to save not just the Albanians, but also the entire Balkans region and the entire world.
State Senator Emmett Hanger and Stanton Mayor Carolyn Dole were among the local dignitaries.
This is a real honor. As the mayor, I am so fortunate to be able to participate in some of these welcomes.
Dole admitted she learned more history about President Wilson during the ceremony.
It turns out that Woodrow Wilson was the preeminent reason for the countries being formed, and they hold him in high esteem in those 3 countries. They're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the creation of their countries after World War I, and they're honoring it with postage stamps of Woodrow Wilson.
Senator Hanger also says he wants to brush up on President Wilson's accomplishments.
Just an opportunity to go back and refresh memory on the significance of those moments in the aftermath of the war, the League of Nations, and the points that Woodrow Wilson detailed that basically served as a roadmap for the protection of some of the small countries and ultimately to allow them sovereignty and independence. So it was a very important time, and living in this area and having this museum here, the birthplace of Woodrow Wilson and then the Presidential Library, we often take for granted, Woodrow Wilson, but he's one of our Virginia presidents, and it was very important. In fact, for me it's significant in that my dad, I'm a junior, my dad was born in that era, and of course Wilson was a popular name, so Wilson ended up being my middle name now.
Robin von Seldenek is the president and CEO of the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Library. She says the ceremony was not only to honor President Wilson, but to also enjoying sharing different cultures.
I thought it was just a wonderful, wonderful way to have the group come and to celebrate the wonderful things that Woodrow Wilson did on the international stage. And I think sometimes we forget. We see him from the local perspective of he was born here in Stanton and he was president, but we forget the impact that he had on the international stage.
She describes exchanging gifts with the delegation.
Each of the countries have issued postage stamps that honor Woodrow Wilson, and he is on the postage stamp from each of the 3 countries, the Republic of Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Albania. And additionally brought us items, books, pieces from their archives that will then be able to share with the public in our exhibits. We gave them a special book on Woodrow Wilson that details Woodrow Wilson and his life and times.
And yes, selfies are still popular while traveling, even among international delegations. In Stanton, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.